We need one of those little clapper thingies. I'll make one for each one of us, and whoever's going to be starting the podcast, we have to do it.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Sister Sharpens Sister. My name is Karen. I am joined by Shalon, who, there she is, and Dee Dee. And today we are wrapping up a three-part series of influential individuals that have had a lot to do and say and help to change what happened within the Appalachian Mountains. Specifically today, I'm going to talk about a woman who arguably, I would argue anyway, through the 20th century and even into the 21st century, where we are now, obviously, has had the most impact for one state in particular, and that state is Tennessee. And today I'm going to be talking about none other than the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton.
Mm.
Now, I had looked at doing some people from the state of West Virginia, but I mean, the information is like, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton, there's
Mhm.
even
Page of
let me,
info.
yeah, let me pull this up. There is a highly popular and acclaimed podcast series about her called Dolly Parton's America, and it's a nine-part series that's hosted by somebody with the name of Jad, Abrumad, Rad. I can't pronounce that last name, obviously, from a site called Radio Lab. And they do a deep dive into her life and career and her cultural impact. And it even includes interviews with Dolly Parton. I have not listened to all of them, but I am just going to be skimming the surface. And if you want something more in depth about her, that's where you need to go. And I will provide a link to that. Dolly Parton started from very humble beginnings. She was born in January 1946 in a place so remote that it barely even has a name. It's called Locust Ridge, which is close to Seaverville, Tennessee. Now, it's a one-room cabin where she lived and grew up. No electricity, no running water, and she even tells stories that when it rained, that it would pour inside the cabin, that they would have to set out buckets and pans and pots just to catch the water. She was the fourth of what the family would have in a line of children of 12. It's a lot of children.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was delivered by a local doctor who came to the one room cabin. This is back in the day when that still happened. The doctor would come and see you, and he was paid with a sack of cornmeal because that's all the family had.
Wow.
Her dad, by a gentleman by the name of Robert Lee Parton, had to give it to him because, like I said, that's all he had. And the man, who was actually very smart when you would speak to him, he could not read, he could not write, but it said that he worked harder than three men.
Mm.
So they lived on a small farm that was, I don't know, more rocks than crops.
Yeah.
And you would think that being dirt poor and 12 kids in a one-room cabin, that they would be very sad, that the family would just be, forlorn and very, I don't know how to say it, very just, very much in despair about their living situation. But they weren't like that because the mom would not let them. It is said, Dolly even says this, that her mom, whose name was Avi Lee, would sing every day in the cabin.
Oh,
She would sing mountain ballads while she cooked. She would sing gospel songs while she did the dishes and washed the clothes. And then she would sing lullabies to put the kids to sleep. And Dolly says that it would make angels weep. Her mama could sing so good.
oh.
Now, when she was about 6, She desperately wanted a doll for Christmas, but the family had zero money for any kind of store-bought stuff. So her mom took some old rags and stuffed them with corn shucks. You know what corn shucks are, right?
I do, yes.
Okay, for anybody that has never had to shuck an ear of corn, when you see it, it's got like the hair that's coming out the top, and the leaves that you pull off the cob of the corn are corn shucks.
Hmm.
So that's what she did. She made a doll out of scrap fabric and corn shucks. And
Aw.
Dolly Parton loved that doll more than anything. She would carry it with her wherever she went, and she even wrote songs about that doll when she was a kid.
That's
But
very
when she
special.
was 7, her Uncle Billy gave her a toy guitar.
Yeah, me
And
too.
she would say that calling it a guitar would be stretching it because it was more like a wooden box with rubber bands. But she loved it. She said it might as well have been made of gold. And she spent hours figuring out how to get those rubber bands to make the sounds that she was hearing in her head. And her very first song was about that corn shuck baby doll, and she called it Tiny Little Tassel Top. That's what's on the top of a ear of corn. And she sang it for anybody that would sit still long enough to listen. This is when she was like 6 and 7 years old. She was doing this. So she had already figured out the secret of what made her happy, which was music.
Hmm.
By the time she was 10, she got her hands on a real guitar, mostly real. They had to put some new strings on it and, get it tuned up, but it actually made music. And that's when something magical happened. Her grandfather, who was a preacher at a Pentecostal church, his name, Jake Robert Owens, um, said that there was something special in her, not just her voice, but her fearlessness. And Dolly would say that her grandpa's voice could raise the dead and he had a heart big enough to hold all of the sinners in East Tennessee. Now, most preachers' granddaughters in that area at that time were expected to be seen and not heard, but he actively encouraged her to sing. He let her sing in church, he let her write her own songs, and he told her, he said, God gave you that voice for a reason, child. Don't you dare hide it under a bushel.
Aw.
So when she was 12, something else happened. A local radio station owner had heard her singing in church and invited her to perform on his show. Now, this little mountain girl probably walking into a radio studio, right? In homemade dress, probably made from like a flour sack, and her voice was broadcast for whoever could hear it across the radio waves. And she sang a song that she wrote herself called Puppy Love. And people were calling the station before she was even finished singing, wanting to know who she was. Now, she started to get like local events and singing at those, and sometimes traveling as far as 50 miles away. But when you have a family of 12 in a one-room cabin, you definitely don't have reliable transportation. And that's where her dad, Robert, bless his heart, would come in and do anything and everything that he could to make sure that his daughter got to those singing engagements.
Hmm.
He traded, he worked, he hitched rides, he did whatever he could to get his vehicle running if it was down. So there's that. Now, when she graduated high school in 1964, she had the same choice that everybody else has: leave or stay. Now, we all know which one she did. She packed one suitcase, had $100 in her pocket, called a bus, and went to Nashville the day after she graduated high school.
Wow.
This
Mhm.
woman is fearless.
Yeah, that's
Her
very
Right.
brave.
attitude reminds me of our mother. So her first few years in Nashville didn't go very well. She had a tiny apartment. She said that it was so small that you could cook, eat, and wash your dishes without having to take a step. But most of her meals, she said, were beans and cornbread, which probably was not much different than what she was raised on. And she would take any singing gig that she could get. She wrote songs in the middle of the night because that was basically the only quiet time that she could find. And here's what separated her from all the other pretty girls with a guitar is that she wasn't just a singer, she was also a songwriter. And the songwriting is what caught the attention in 1967. She had been in Nashville for 3 years at this point, of a gentleman by the name of Porter Wagner.
Yes.
Now, he had his own TV show, Porter Wagner Show. Me and Dee Dee
Mm.
remember watching it.
Yep.
We remember seeing Dolly Parton on that show.
Yes.
Now, he needed a female vocalist to replace somebody that was leaving, somebody by the name of Norma Jean.
Hmm.
And when he heard Dolly's demo tape, he gave her a call. Now, a little bit about Porter Wagner, because her relationship with him is a significant chapter in her life. He was a showman's showman. He was always well coiffed. Let me use that word. That word's not used in this century, is it?
Uh-uh.
His hair was always combed. His smile was always bright. He was always very well dressed, and his boots were shined. He
So
was
let,
smart. He
let's
was
just,
ambitious, and he was very used to getting his way. He was not used to being told no in any way, shape, or form. So when Dolly Parton, who was 21 at this time, walked into his Nashville office because of what he had heard and what she demonstrated to him when she came, he was seeing dollar signs. And he did make her a star. The Porter Wagner show was broadcast nationwide, and suddenly she was singing songs to everybody in the United States, from California to New York City. And they would record duets together that came up on the country charts. One of them was The Last Thing on My Mind. Another one was We'll Get Ahead Someday. And those two, as well as the other ones that they did, made them the hottest duo in country music. But things start to get complicated when he became her manager, her producer, her creative director, and he controlled everything. What she sang, what clothes she wore, even what she said in interviews. And for a while, Dolly went along with it because, I mean, she was doing what she felt like in her heart that she was born to do. And she was making more money than anybody in her family had ever seen. But Dolly Parton was her own person. This very strong willed child who did not let her corn shuck doll make her any different than any other kid, because when somebody made fun of her because of it, she was like, well, it's mine. My mama made it and I love it very much. She didn't care what anybody else said. So there was a breaking point that came in 1973. She wrote a song, simple, beautiful ballad about leaving somebody you love because you have to grow. And she wanted to record it solo. But he was not having any of it. He saw it as a betrayal, and they ended up splitting ways. And he sued her for breach of contract and won.
Hmm.
The country music industry basically turned their back on her. Executives were whispering that she was ungrateful and that she would never make it without his golden touch. Golden touch. Like he was Midas. And for a while, it looked like they might be right because her solo albums never really took off. Critics called her voice too mountain for mainstream country and too country for pop. So she was caught between those two genres of music. But she had an ace up her sequined sleeve because the way she dressed, man. You seen Dolly Parton? She's
Mhm.
sparkly,
Yeah, she's flamboyant for sure.
Yes.
very.
Yes.
Now, the song that she wrote was about leaving Porter Wagner so that she could grow as a person, as a musician, as an artist. And do you know the name of the song?
Yes, I do.
Shalon? I Will Always
I will
Love You.
always love you.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now that song, right? Forget everything you know about Whitney Houston's like gospel voice coming through and singing this song for the Kevin Costner movie. What was it? Bodyguard.
Bodyguard. Yeah. Now I
Yeah,
knew that she originally sang that song though.
yes. Now her original, it was very um intimate. It's like she was singing directly to a person's heart, whereas Whitney was singing to an audience, right? She recorded it in 1974, and it became her first number one hit as a solo artist. This is Dolly. But here's the kicker. And it shows you kind of like how smart of a businesswoman Dolly Parton is. She kept the publishing rights to that song. So every time somebody records it, she gets paid.
Hmm.
So fast forward to 1992
That's what
when
I'm
The
thinking.
Bodyguard came out. Um, Whitney Houston wanted to cover it. Dolly Parton said yes, but guess what? She gets paid royalties every time that song is played. And
Hmm.
she had to pay Dolly a upfront lump sum of money in order to
Mhm.
record that song. She said that song made her more from that movie than the previous years that she'd been singing as a professional.
Yeah.
You
I was
mean
going to say
Made her
she's been
more money than she ever dreamed possible.
Dolly or Whitney?
Dolly, Dolly
Okay.
okay.
said. Yeah, because of the royalties. Everybody was playing it. Everybody wanted
Yes.
to record it. I mean, every time it comes across a radio station, no matter who's singing it, this woman
Hmm.
gets paid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's go back to when she was little, and this is like a really tender part for me when I was researching her, and I know the story of this song, "The Coat of Many Colors."
Hmm.
So her mom, Abby Lee, didn't have any money for a coat, and Dolly Parton's 8 years old. She's growing, and she outgrew her last winter coat, so she needs a new one. So what does her mama do? She reaches into her scrap basket of fabric and starts putting together a coat for her daughter. And while she's making the coat, she's telling Dolly the story of Joseph and his cloak of many colors. And she combines the two so that when Dolly was wearing this to school, wearing it out in public, and people were pointing at her and snickering and making fun of her, she did not care because she was wearing the same thing that Joseph wore, a coat of many colors that had been put together by hand with her mama with love. So, yeah, that is my favorite song from Dolly Parton,
Oh yeah.
Coat of Many
Hmm.
Colors. Now, by the late 70s, she had proven that she was a good solo artist. She wasn't content with just being a plain old country music star because she had bigger dreams. I mean, she was a very forward thinker. So she crossed over into pop music when she gets together with a gentleman by the name of Kenny Rogers. And they record a song called
I forget the name of it.
Let's start with
Islands in the Stream,
Yes,
oh,
that's it.
and another one called Here You Come Again. Now that was a crossover.
Hmm.
That song was. It hit the country music charts, it hit the pop music charts. So she wasn't just a genius in music, though, because she was building a brand, right? She started her own publishing company. She started her own record label, and she, while other people were signing their life away to these different big companies, she was actually becoming a company. Now, obviously, everybody knows about Dollywood, but before we get to Dollywood, we're going to talk about Hollywood. So, in the early 80s, she gets a phone call from none other than Jane Fonda, right?
This
All
is
right.
one of my favorite movies.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Jane Fonda just knew that Dolly Parton would be perfect for the role of Dora Lee in the movie 9 to 5 because they had a lot in common. Country girl, accent, big attitude. But that film, if you have not watched it, highly recommend that you go see it. You got 3 recommendations here. Go see it.
Go see it. It's good. It's good.
Yep.
Exactly, yeah. If you don't show it to your children, not until they're of a certain age.
This is true. It's hilarious, but it's more for the more mature mind.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's about 3 working women who get revenge on a sexist, egotistical boss.
A
Wait, you
sexist,
got to do the whole
egotistical
thing.
bigot. A
Bigot.
sexist, egotistical
Sexist,
bigot.
egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
That's it. That's it.
Uh, but Dolly Parton had never acted before, ever. Not in a church drama, not in a school play, not in a local community theater. She had never been on the big screen.
Hmm.
And she was nervous when she showed up that first day. She thought, in the first week, they're going to fire me because I don't know what I'm doing. But they didn't. They actually ended up loving her. 9 to 5 became a massive hit. And her performance was like a revelation because she wasn't just performing and playing a role. She was playing herself, and audiences fell in love with that. Plus, she's got natural comedic timing, and she's just funny. I mean, if
Yeah.
you've ever seen her on interviews anywhere, she's hilarious.
Mhm.
I
Now,
love to watch her in interviews.
I do too. I do too. Now, she actually wrote the song that is the main theme for the movie 9 to 5. If you've not heard it, you've been living under a rock or in a cave somewhere.
My
Because
children know the
9 to
lyrics to
5,
that song.
say again?
My children know the lyrics to that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. And it's one of her biggest hits. It spent 2 weeks at #1 on the country charts, and it even got nominated for an Academy Award. Now,
Nice.
the success of 9 to 5 opened more doors for her in Hollywood, and she got some more serious movie roles, one of which is not a very well known movie, but it is a very good movie. I have seen it. She plays a madam in a brothel opposite Burt Reynolds in a movie called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Now, that doesn't typically go with the image that you think of when you think of Dolly Parton, but I mean, she said that she had fun making it and she brought a lot of compassion to that role and helped people see like how difficult it might be for women who had to do things like that.
Hmm.
Now, her most critically acclaimed performance was in 1989, a movie that Shalon made me sit down and watch, Still Magnolias. She plays a character by the name of Truvy, who is, I don't know, she's a very smart, very wise beauty shop owner, right?
Yeah.
Um, that also has Sally Field, Julia Roberts, Shirley MacLaine,
Olympia Dukakis.
Olympia
Mhm.
Dukakis, yeah, and it's about women from the South supporting one another and lifting one another up and being there in times of crisis. Now, by the mid 80s, she had conquered music, period. Conquered music, period. Not just country, but, pop as well. Um, she had proven that she could be an actress and she was ready for the next impossible thing. So in 1986, she buys a bunch of land in the heart of Tennessee and opens a theme park by the name of Dollywood. And what's different is that she hires local artisans to work at the park. They give demonstrations. They show people how the culture of the Appalachian Mountains really is. And, she saw it as an opportunity to celebrate her mountain heritage, not to mention the fact that she employs thousands of people at this
And it,
at this park throughout the history of it. She has employed thousands and brought a lot of economic development and money into a region that really needed it.
yeah, and if you go to Dollywood, you may or may not even see her. She may be there. You never know.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, my heart would fall out if I were to ever meet Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
I mean, she's my girl crush.
Yeah.
She said that Dollywood is a love letter to her childhood
Oh.
because she wants to make sure that people experience authentic Appalachian culture. And it worked because it is
Hmm.
one of the biggest tourist attractions on the East Coast. So if that's not enough, right? She does something else. She starts something in honor of her father because she saw him one day desperately trying to understand something that was written, and the man could not read. And she realized that in a lot of these places where there's not a lot of money, up in the hollers and the hills of the Appalachian Mountains, that children don't learn to read like they do in, I don't know, towns, more more urban areas and big cities. So the
Hmm.
Imagination Library, what it is that no matter how much money you make, doesn't matter, from birth to age 5, every child that you have between those ages gets a free book from Dolly Parton. She handpicks the books and approves them, every one. And the books are appropriate for whatever age they are. So, like, birth to one, it's the big board books, plastic coated, because they're going to get drooled on and everything else, right? And, all the way up until they start school. Now, her county, Seaver County, in 1995, she started the Imagination Library in Seaver County, and the concept was simple but revolutionary. In the first year, she was mailing 1,760 books to kids in that county.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, local people thought that, it's a nice gesture. She's rich. She's got a lot of money. How long is it going to last? Because when people stop talking about stuff like that, most of the time it fades away and nobody ever says anything about it. But
Hmm.
she's a different breed of woman, and she's not like other celebrities. So it became a passion project. She sees this as part of her legacy. So she didn't just write checks so that the books could be purchased and mailed. She designs the program and she makes sure that it actually works. And the program spread from county to county in her state, and then from state to state across the United States, and now even into other countries. And today, the Imagination Library has given away over 200 million books to children around the world.
Wow.
Hmm.
200 million books. She still personally funds the original program in Sevier County in Tennessee. And all of those come with a little note that says, "From your friend, Dolly." Teachers started reporting that kids who were receiving the Imagination Library books were entering kindergarten better prepared to read, and parents who never read to their children were reading stories to their children because of the books that she was mailing to them. So let's jump all the way to 2022, right? She gets a phone call out of the blue from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. "Hi, Dolly. We're going to nominate you for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." She said she was shocked. It's not something that she ever imagined would happen. She's a country music artist, right? That's how she identifies as. But she's in her 70s. 2022. This woman's in her 70s. She Okay. It says that most artists would start planning their acceptance speech immediately, but not Dolly. In a move that was so humble, it was almost radical, she publicly asked to be withdrawn from consideration. The guys at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said, "No, sorry. That's not going to happen."
Wow.
She said, and this is a quote, "I really do not think that I merit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award. I've always been a country singer, and I'm very honored to be nominated, but I really don't think I deserve it." So she sold over 100 million records at this point. She has influenced countless musicians across multiple genres of music. She's written songbooks of America, especially Appalachian culture. And she's worried that she doesn't deserve recognition from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, come on. But when she realized that they were serious and that she was not going to be taken off of that list, she said, "You know what? If I'm going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm going to record a rock and roll album." In her 70s. I celebrate this woman. But she was going to do it a little bit different. So what she did is she got together with Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Elton John, Sting, Pink, Rob Halford from Judas Priest, Stevie Nicks, and they all get together and they record an album called Rockstar. It came out in 2023. Big album, lots of songs on it. And I mean, listen, Dolly Parton singing rock and roll songs, it's everything that this rock and roll hearted girl ever wanted to hear. And she doesn't really sound like a rock and roll star,
No.
but she has the ability to blend in and just, I don't know, it's outstanding. Maybe it's because I already love her, right? And then she's
Mhm.
just recording songs that I already love, but I think they're fantastic. She recorded a cover of Purple Rain by Prince. She recorded a cover of Freebird by Leonard Skinner. It's it's good. Go buy the album. That's all I gotta say. So she shows no signs of slowing down. She still does interviews. She's still on tour. She she I mean, she's still recording. She's still acting. If somebody were to say, "Who's the most influential musician in America right now?" I would say Dolly Parton. And I am not a country music lover. I would say that over Rob Halford, because he's not American, he's English.
I had
You
no
know,
idea who that was until you said what band he was in.
yeah, he's the lead singer for Judas Priest.
Well, you'd say that
Um,
over Stevie Nicks. She's I love Stevie Nicks, but
Yeah,
she's American.
yeah. Stevie Nicks is awesome. I mean, Stevie Nicks, man, this is a woman who wrote a song about a cheating husband, was in a band with said cheating husband, and made him play the music and sing the backup vocals.
Yes.
She's a woman with balls too.
Yes.
From a one-room cabin from a place called Locust Ridge in Seaverville, Tennessee, to worldwide recognition.
Hmm.
I mean, talk about the American dream. Holy cow.
Yeah.
This woman has accomplished so much. She, to me, she's just proof that dreams can come true and that you don't take no for an answer, and that Appalachian women are not to be messed with. So that's my presentation on Dolly Parton.
I'm glad you picked her because she is one of my favorite celebrities. You know,
She's
Yes.
she's mine too. Yeah.
yeah, she's somebody that I actually care to know what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I care about her opinion
Hmm.
because she's not separated from her roots. She's still
Right.
very much attached to them.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I
Not to
mean, when
mention the experience that she has.
yeah, so smart. This woman is so smart. And I would fangirl so hard if I ever got to meet this woman. Dolly Parton, if you ever get to see this podcast, then give us a call.
Yeah. Yeah, we all love you.
Yes, absolutely. The first person that I looked at doing was Mother Jones, but I decided against her because she was born in Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
She was
Hmm.
Irish.
Hmm.
So, and that's where she was raised. She came over to the United States because of all the crap that was happening. And she
Hmm.
really did spend a lot of time here in West Virginia and the coal fields of the Appalachian Mountains during the mine wars.
Hmm.
And she was, this one thing that I read said that if she was standing on a stage talking to people, that there would be the coal mine owners standing beside of her, and that they dwarfed her. And she said she didn't care. She said, I was born in Ireland. I've lived through a civil war. I've been through a famine. You think you scare me? You don't.
Hmm.
So yeah, she was somebody else that didn't take no for an answer. But she was
Hmm.
not born and raised in the Appalachian Mountains, so that's why I didn't pick her. She would be
Yeah.
somebody to learn a little more about though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely going to go listen to that 9 episode podcast about Dolly, where they've
Yeah.
got interviews with her, and learn more. See if I can learn more than what I skimmed off the internet, because I was hitting sites and taking notes and was like, oh, this. Let me watch this interview. Let me watch this interview. This is Johnny Carson. This is Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh my God.
And she really does hone in on the feelings
Mm.
of people in the
Hmm.
Appalachian Mountains and everywhere, because not just Appalachian people have these feelings, right? Everybody
Hmm.
has these feelings, but she really lets you know the the truth of her heart. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where she sings from. I think she sings from the truth of her heart. And the woman's Christian.
Hmm.
Mhm.
She still very much believes in God, and I don't know if she goes to church or what she does, but she has very deep faith roots, and she's not afraid to talk about it. She's not afraid to joke about her big boobs and her blonde hair. She said it
That-
never really bothered her when somebody called her a dumb blonde, because number one, she knew she wasn't dumb, and number two, she knew she wasn't really blonde.
That's also, I think, too, like, that's why we all enjoy her everybody does.
She's real.
She speaks
I
her
mean,
truth
Yeah.
and just
granted, she's all
yeah,
flamboyant the way she looks, but
yeah,
what comes out of her mouth is real.
yes.
What she
Yeah.
does to help people is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I read part of an interview where she was talking, said that when she very first got started in the industry, everybody used to talk about how flamboyant she was, her rhinestone dresses and, her obvious cleavage. And her, her blonde hair and her makeup. And she said she just looks at him and say, you know what? It takes a lot of money to look this cheap. I also heard her say that when she was little, there used to be this lady, a lady of the night, as she said, that would walk the streets of Seaverville. And she said that she thought that woman was the most beautiful woman she had ever seen. Red lipstick, red painted fingernails, big hair. And she said she always wanted to look like that. And she
There you
does.
go.
So, and she makes it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I was into, and next week, all right, next week, fun episode from Miss Anna. She wrote a story. She sent us all the words, and we had to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm glad Dee Dee clarified on a couple of those words because when I go to work on it this week, it may have been a different story between angles and angels.
Angels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I had some funny stuff.
Yeah, I didn't proof it. Like I would let her do her own thing, obviously, because I was like, you have to do this on your own. You can't give me any insight of what your story is.
Yeah.
Not if you're going to write the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
So that was
I started
all
looking
her. She did all the typing.
at. She
She
did a good
did
job.
the whole nine.
She did a really good job, and the two errors were actually, I'm thinking they were typos because
Yeah.
it's easy
I
to type and mix up letters, and it's easy to when you're typing a singular possessive sisters to forget to hit the thing or to think you hit it but
Yeah.
you didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done those things myself. That's typos.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, sometimes my brain is working faster than my fingers can keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. That's me when I'm typing an email and I'm going and then I'm like, oh, okay, wait, let's just start over.
That's not right. Yeah. Well, that's what we'll do next week. Anything else?
We're doing our road trip this week. So
Okay. We'll be sure to take pen and paper so that you can work on your story.
yeah, it'll be a car thing. Like it was the last time too.
Okay. All right. Well, you have fun on your trip. Dee Dee,
Mm-hmm.
you take care.
Well, thank you.
Give everybody a hug from me and from
Yeah.
Shalon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will talk to you guys in chat and see you next week.
Okay. Sounds
Yes,
good.
All right.
Bye.
I'm gonna go listen to some Dolly Parton actually.
Yeah, that's good listening.
Maybe even watch 9 to 5. I think that's what I'll do. I'm gonna go watch 9 to 5.
ma'am.